Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Futurama, Season 4, Episode 10 of my show, which is also going to be about Episode 10. Now, Episode 10 is known as Alila Verone, but before I start talking about it, since I'm on Episode 10, that means I got 2 more videos left to cover after this one's done. I just wanted to get that out of the way, so I got 2 more videos after this one. Anyway, and that's all I wanted to mention. Oh, but one more thing before I start actually talking about this. I'm playing that TMNT Shredder's Revenge right now on my PS5, so I might do a review of the game once I finish doing this season set of videos and stuff. And I just wanted to get that out of the way. So anyway, getting back into it. As I said, this is History of Futurama Season 4, Episode 10 of my show, which is also about Episode 10. And Episode 10 is known as the Leela of Her Own. Basically, the way this episode first starts off is Leela is telling... Because basically what happens is Fry is looking out through his binoculars. And that's when Leela tells him to stop looking through those binoculars because the wall of that building isn't gonna crumble down 2 times in a row. And then Fry says that's okay. He knows and he accepts that. But that's not the thing he was looking at through the binoculars. He was looking at the... Oh, crap. That's probably Gerald. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'll see if I can... Crap. Hey. Hey, Gerald. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to make this quick. Look, I'm recording a video right now. So would you mind... How about I call you back and we can talk some more then, okay, bud? Okay, bye. Okay. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Gerald, one of my friends from the program who lives at one of the other houses called me. That's why it took me longer than expected to get back to this. So if you heard that stuff in the video, I apologize about that. Anyway, basically, after Fry tells Leo that story, she told him that story that he told her sucked, and then basically she tells him to give her the binoculars. So she basically breaks the binoculars in half because she only has one eye, so she only uses one of the 2 binoculars that are attached. Because normally binoculars are used for people with 2 eyes. That's why they have 2 eye holes to look through them. But since she has 1 eye, I guess it makes sense in this case. And then while she's looking at it, she said that she thinks the owner of the pizza place is from Cygnus 5. And then when the professor hears that, he's like, Cygnoids on our block? Fine food. They should go back to where they came from. And then basically, Leo is telling the professor that society is never gonna advance anywhere until they all learn to accept each other. And then she tells them that they should go down to the pizza place and make these mysterious creatures feel welcome. But the professor's against it, but they go anyway. And then basically the female Cygnoid is basically explaining to the male Cygnoid that runs, because it's run by 2 Cygnoids in a pizza place, and basically Oh, before I continue, I should mention this. The whole pizza place thing is also a reference to the fact that Fry worked at a pizzeria in the first episode of the original series. So this is another episode where a pizzeria gets referenced and stuff. And I'm just going to backtrack here because I'm going to mention this since I brought the thing up with the pizzeria again. The pizzeria that where Fry actually worked gets referenced again in the series in, I believe it's the episode known as Jurassic Park. Now, I just said the episode name because I can't remember what the actual number is. I'm gonna have to look that up on Disney Plus anyway. But anyway, getting back into what I was saying earlier, I just got a little off track there because of the whole pizza place thing, and I just felt it was another reference to Fry's old job at Panucci's Pizza and stuff. Same as when in that episode where he had where his PIN number was the same number as the price of a cheese pizza and a large soda. Oh my god. So it's another pizza place reference. Anyway, basically the female signoid is telling the male signoid, that, is he sure about this? Because the guidebook said that humans' legs bend down at the knee, and then the male signoid explains that, and then the male signoid explains that basically, it's okay because if anyone complains, he bends people's legs up for free. Oh my god. The reason why he said that is because the chairs that they have for them are tilted upward instead of downward, which is, anyway, basically what happens is after that, the people of the Planet Express crew come into the pizza place and they order some pizza there, which, and then they start eating, and then basically, after Leela tastes it, she's like, I don't mean to offend, but this tastes like vomit, and then basically, the female signoid is telling her thank you, and then because she thinks that's a compliment, but then Leela said that she did mean to offend a little because it tastes awful. And then basically what happens is the two signoids that run the pizza place are basically shouting to each other in their native language, and then basically they start crying, and then Fry wonders why they're upset, and then the female signoid explains that they came to Earth to start a good life, run a pizza place, raise spoiled Earth children, live Earth can dream, and then basically Fry cheered them up by deciding to help them run the pizza place by giving them pointers, because of the fact that he used to work in a pizza place before he got cryogenically frozen. Anyway, and then basically the female signoid is thanking him for wanting to help them, and then basically the male signoid is telling them that they can't sell pizza, their dream of being on Earth will die. Just like rats that they crushed to make the wine. Oh my god. And when the Fry overhears the rats being crushed to make the wine part, he spits the wine out at Bender, who then spits the wine back out at him. Oh my god. I don't know if that's because Fry spit the wine at him, and then he spit it back. Because I don't know, because I'm not sure about that. Anyway, basically, Fry starts giving them pointers on what to do for, making the pizzas, and basically his pointers are for one of the ingredients. Case in point, no live bees. Oh my god. And then basically he mentions about the ovens, when they put the pizzas in the ovens, they don't have to go in with them. They don't go in with them, and then he opens the oven that's in, and one of the signals that's in there is like, "Hey, occupado!" And then he explains to them about, the TV, humans need it so that they can have something to watch while they're eating, and then he puts a Burns ball game on the TV screen, which is this series' futuristic equivalent of baseball, except it's with a ball that's attached to a string and stuff. And then basically, what happens is, it's showing the New York Mets, who in this series are very, having a very terrible season, and the narrator, the one who's commentating on the game, he says that he hasn't seen play this bad since the days of Bob Uecker, and the irony of it is that it's the head of the very same person he mentioned, because it's Bob Uecker's head doing that. Oh my god! Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, but that's hilarious. Anyway, basically, then after that, the male signoid is getting confused. He's like, "Mets, shortstop, pitching the hitter? I don't understand this Burns ball." And because of that, Fry tells him that if they're gonna they're gonna live on Earth and be people of Earth, they're gonna have to teach them the game. And then basically he makes a suggestion of, how about if their team plays a game against Planet Express? However, they're going to need 9 players. And then the female signoid said that's not going to be a problem. And she shouts in her native planet language to get the others to come out. And then basically one of them is like, "Play the ball!" And then they play Vern's ball game. And then, the professor's trying to encourage his team while being at a, signoid. And then they start playing the game, and then basically what happens is, with Leela being the pitcher, what happens is she, keeps throwing the ball at them, beating them in the head, which kind of gets the crowd excited. And then after she manages to beat a run in, Fry decides to take her out of the game. And the crowd is wanting her to still be in it. And this also leads into the part where I mentioned where one of the other characters would show up again. Remember that episode I talked about back in, I think it was in season 3 or I think it was season 2. But anyway, there was an episode that I did where Bender did a stint as a professional Ultimate Robot Fighting League fighter, and there was a commissioner who was basically a sleazebag, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because that same character is now the sleazebag who owns the New York Mets, and he basically recruits Leela, and then but when Bender sees him first, he's like, "Wait, I know you. You're the sleazebag who owns the Ultimate Robot Fighting League." And then, as I stated before, the sleazebag explains that not that anymore. Now he's the sleazebag of the New York Mets. And then Leela said that the Mets are worse baseball players than her, and then basically, the sleazebag mentions that they don't manage to draw a crowd like she does, and then basically she basically offers to make her a member of the team, and then she gets ecstatic about that because of being a female to play Blurns ball, and then basically the sleazebag is mentioning that it'll just be a publicity stunt to bring out the freak show crowd, but I'm guessing Leah didn't hear that, and then she still gets happy about it regardless. And then basically in the next scene, what happens is she unveils her uniform to them, and then basically when she shows the uniform, the professor asks her why her number is 7/8, and the reasoning is because all the whole numbers have actually been retired, so that's why they have to go with half numbers, which makes sense in the terms of baseball, because if all of the whole numbers for the team that they have were retired, they have to go with half numbers now. Anyway, I just from a technical standpoint, I mean. Anyway, what happens is, then the New York Mets play a baseball game, and then basically Fry sees that the Signoids have basically opened a franchise, and then he's happy about that, and then basically the female Signoid is saying that yes to that, and their biggest seller is Leela's Bean Pizza. 12 different kinds of, which is a pizza that has 12 different kinds of beans, but also has things that look like beans in it and stuff. And basically, what happens is, one of the Flumogul people decides to buy the franchise from them and to make it a part of his thing, because he's intrigued by the pizza and stuff, and then basically he wonders how they made the crust for the pizza so fizzy, and then the male Signoid is like, ancient Signoid secret. And then the female Signoid is getting sort of being a little sarcastic with her husband in this case, because she's like, my husband, so much. Here's this ancient Signoid secret. And basically what their ancient Signoid secret is for the pizza is basically just live hornets, which they squished into the dough. Oh my god, I'm sorry, but that's just hilarious. So basically, after he mentions about it, he doesn't care if there's horse manure in it, which isn't, in his case, is a joke, but I get the male Signoid takes it literally because he's like, that's good. And then basically he decides to buy the franchise to help them out, and then, but the male Signoid at first is refusing it because he said that they came to Earth to make pizza, not money, and then the female Signoid tells him that it's the other way around, so because of that, he accepts the offer. And then basically what happens is then it goes into the segment of the episode where they're playing the baseball game, and then they start losing the crowd. So the manager is telling Skipper to put Leela in so that they can keep the crowd in. But then he's like, dang gummit, I already put in the circus clown. And now that I brought up the part with the circus clown, I'm gonna mention something, because the circus clown, who in their right mind, I know this is a fictional adult series, but who in their right mind football team. Oh my god. And the reason why I'm mentioning that right now is because that leads into a funny thing that happens near the end of this episode, which I will explain when I get to that part. Anyway, I just wanted to get that out of the way though, and then basically they put Leela in because they start losing the crowd, and then basically what happens is after that, the announcer explains to them who she is, and then after he mentions that she's a one-eyed female woman, and then basically they get intrigued by that and they come back, and then basically Beans runs in. And then they start chanting Bean over and over again, and then after the game, basically what happens is Bender shows up and basically to be her agent, so to speak. And then after a couple of stints where he has her work some different advertising jobs for Beans to be to earn basically $1,000 or so dollars in pesos, which I'm guessing the pesos, I know for a fact that pesos are the Mexican equivalent of currency, I think. Anyway, and then after that, in the next scene, what happens is, they're, Leela's doing a signing for people for autographs, and then Bender said that put a 1 and 2 zeros in front of that, and they've got a wand, and then basically, Leela said that she's not doing this for the money, she's doing it for people in the Roma, and then basically this other woman comes in and tells her that about this thing, and then they're surprised, and then she wonders who she is, and then she explains that her name's Jackie Anderson, and she's one of the players at the NYU baseball team, and she was hoping to make it into the majors soon, and then basically Leo wonders if she's gonna follow in her footsteps, but she said forbid because her performance is being so sloppy, like being treated like a joke that real female athletes can't be taken seriously, and she hopes that she's proud of herself, and then she gets upset because of that, and then basically Bender's like, alright, show's over, no refunds, you heard the robot, get out. And then basically what happens is after that, we start to cry back at the Planet Express building, and she explains that the fans haven't been cheering with her, they've been cheering at her, and then basically, because of that, she decides to try to become the best Burns ball player of all time to turn it around, but then basically, Hermes tells her that statistically that's impossible because in a certain amount of innings, she hasn't gotten one single out. At the rate she's going, she's gonna end up being labeled as the worst Burns ball player of all time. And then basically, because of that, she makes a new vow to avoid that. And then in the next scene, what happens? And then in the next scene, what happens is they go to the Burns Ball Museum, which is basically the baseball museum of the future. And then basically they find the place for the worst Burns ball player in history, which is who is known as Hank Aaron the 24th, and then basically, when he was so bad that he went his whole career without getting a hit, and then basically, and they're showing some things like Bender sees that he says here that he struck out once when his arm got stuck to an overly cold bat. And then they're saying that it's also a Korean hologram, but it turns out, and then the Hank Aaron that's in there is saying that he's not a hologram, but he is crummy, and then he says these things, Hank Aaron the 24th, and then basically Fry's like, Hank Aaron the 24th, how can you play so blowfully? The original Hank Aaron was great. And then the head of the original Hank Aaron who's there is like, no, I was better than great. I was the home run king. And then basically Leela asked the bad Hank how bad he was. And he said that he had a low batting average, but then the original Hank Aaron said that, low? It was 0, you fungo. You went your whole career without getting a hit. And then Bender chimes in about that, saying that Leela did better than that. She pitched her whole career without getting an out, and then basically the original Hank Aaron is explaining that she thinks that because of that she deserves to be in there more than he does, and then basically but he doesn't want to give it up. And then after taking a drink from one of the other heads in a jar, Leela tells him that she doesn't want to end up in this exhibit. That's why she needs his help, so that he could be one tiny iota less pathetic than him. And then basically he said that he can't make him any better than tiny iota. That guy was amazing. And basically, he will, however, be able to teach her everything he knows, and then basically he first needs to see how she does, and basically Bender says that one thing that she can do is put on the back of your head. You're gonna need something to protect your head from getting bonked. So he basically uses Bender's head as a helmet, and then basically tries to throw the ball in and the ball hits the Bender's head that he's using as a helmet, and then basically he makes the suggestion to her about keeping her eye off the ball, which basically means closing her eye in order to throw the ball, which in this case actually works. And now that I mentioned it, the funny part about that is when he's using it, he's actually has the baseball bat and he's using it upside down. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I just have to laugh because that's hilarious. And then basically, he tells her to pitch the ball again. So he closes her eye to pitch the ball, and then she manages to get the strike, and then they all get happy about that. And Leela says that from once she was pitching and not pitching, and then Hank Aaron the 24th takes that literally, and he says that she must have there must be some kind of rash going around. And then basically it goes into the next scene, which kind of leads into the ending of the episode. Leela is trying to convince the skipper to give her one more chance to be on the mound, because it's her last chance to not go down as the worst ball player ever. And then he said that he's not letting her. They're actually winning this game. She only goes in as a joke when they're like 10 runs behind, or when their other pitchers sneak out early to beat the traffic. And then basically he's telling his teammates, come on, let's see some fundamentals out there. And then the clown does this honking noise, and then Skipper's like, and not clown fundamentals. And then basically they hit the ball, and I'm guessing what happens is when the ball gets hit, the circus clown gets it, because what happens is one of the other human players that's not a clown, that's not a circus clown, basically is waiting for the ball to come, but when the circus clown throws something, he doesn't throw the ball, he actually just throws a cream pie in the baseman's face. And then basically Skipper gets annoyed with that, and he's like, oh, now the bases are loaded. Isn't there a man on this team who can give me one more out? And then Leela said that she can. And then he tries to repeat himself by saying what he said before, but then after she mentioned that she was trained by Hank Aaron, he thinks she was trained by Hank Aaron, but she explains that she was trained by a Hank Aaron, which is Hank Aaron the 24th. So because of that, he puts her in, and then when she gets brought in to do that, the team gets upset because they think they're going to be losing, laughing stock. And then after that, what happens is when the Poindexters, which is the Boston team in this series, as they're up, they have Jackie Anderson come up to pinch hit for the team, and then basically Leela basically pitches against her and basically gets 2 strikes. And after she gets the first strike, she's happy about that because for her it's a personal best. And then she manages to get the second strike, but right when the ball's being thrown the third time, that's when it gets hit and it lands into the targeting hole in the board to count as a grand slam blurn. And then basically Bobby Uecker is basically saying, a grand slam blurn! The Mets lose! Their season is over! And then basically he tells her that it's no question, will go down as the worst baseball player in history. And then basically, yet they also see the start of the first woman who will be able to play the career of Burns ball the right way, and Jackie Anderson. And then Jackie goes to Leela to console her about what happened, and then after she explains about what happened, and after Jackie explains that she did make a difference, she tells her to retire immediately. And then then Leela does that thing where that little cliche, that little sports cliche where, where a player's like, hey kid, here, catch. She throws a towel in Jackie's face to give it to her as a gift. And then basically, then it goes into the scene where it's at the Burns Ball Museum, and then Hank Aaron, the 24th, is upset about that. And then the original Hank Aaron is, well, at least you're still the worst football player of all time. And then he says, yeah, and then he leaves the Burns Ball Museum. And then that's basically where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, I'll probably, since it's getting late right now, I'm probably going to post this tomorrow when I get back from day program. When I post this tomorrow, until then, just everyone have a nice day, and I'll see you next time for the next video. But until then, guys, like I always tell you with this series, fun on a bun.